We move to chapter 18, where today we will be understanding reading and listening comprehension. Basic meaning of comprehension is understanding. So either you read and you understand, or you listen and you understand. Now, why this has been a part of business communication is because most of the competitive exams, if we talk of whether it be CET, CAT, CMAT, XLRI, NMAT, XMAT, all of these heavily depend on comprehension of passages. Certain cases, when we talk of international examinations like TOEFL, IR, IELTS and all, they focus on both the parameters. They want to understand whether the candidate applying for is able to comprehend what is being either said to them, that is in the listening aspect, or is able to comprehend, that is understand what is given to them in the readable format, right? So let's just understand in quick as to what is reading comprehension and what is listening comprehension. When you have a passage in front of you, a paragraph in front of you, and certain questions are being asked after completion of these paragraphs, that is the meaning of reading comprehension. A story, a particular backdrop would be given to you, and questions would be based on the same which a candidate or a student has to write for. Similarly, in listening comprehensions, what happens is you listen to a certain paragraph in a way where somebody is using the audio perspective to put forward a particular passage in front of you. Difference between the two is in reading, you can reread the paragraph, but with listening, apparently speaking, with these competitive examinations, there in the scope of you to be able to go and re-listen to the whole audio. Or you can't use the certain strategies where we'll be discussing in the coming video. With regards to reading comprehensions, the same kind of strategy can't be adopted to your listening comprehensions. So apparently speaking, with listening comprehensions, as we had done prior also, it's more of a difficult task as compared to reading, because you have to put and be conscious with regards to all your senses. Your eyesight apparently needs to focus on one particular thing, so your mind is not wandering. You have to pay full attention with regards to your listening activity. You have to comprehend, you have to understand it quickly and probably be able to jot down points. With reading, since you have a paper in hand, you can underline important stuff or mark important stuff, and accordingly, based on the questions, you will be able to read and answer the same. So that's the basic difference between reading comprehension and listening comprehension. Now let's look at the rules or effective ways via which reading comprehension becomes easier. So tips for effective reading comprehension. Apparently, we can say that reading comprehension or reading anything can be divided in three major stages. The first stage is the surfing stage, where like the surf, you just go through the paragraph full-fledged at once to get the basic central idea of your paragraph or the passage. Then comes the skimming stage. The skimming stage is when you are second time reading the paragraph and now putting forward or marking or making certain pointers with regards to what are the important points that you need to consider while attempting the questions or which could have possible questions framed on. Third is the diving stage. That is where now you have read the questions and you are finding your specific answers based on certain words that could be common in the question. So, for example, the paragraph could be talking about how mountains and sea or beaches are different and what is the best places to visit or best months. Probably the question could be asked as, according to the beach lovers, which could be the possible best months to travel. So you catch hold of best months. Then you remember that in your paragraph you read something with regards to those best months to travel. So you dive into that particular space, you read that particular sentence or 3-4 sentences put together and then are able to write an answer. So in reading comprehensions, 3 stages. The surfing stage, you go through the paragraph. Skimming, where you probably pick out important points and put it on side or mark it according to your reading preferences. And third is the diving stage, where you read the questions and then dive to the exact point or line that will be able to help you give answers to your questions asked. Along with it, there are certain few key rules one should observe when we are talking of with regards to listening comprehensions. So just like the rules of effective listening that we have done in the prior sessions, today also we quickly go through it. When you are listening to a certain comprehension, make sure that all your attention is diverted towards the speaker. If possible, keep an eye contact with the speaker so that you can focus on the lip area and are able to comprehend as to what is being said. Based on facial expressions, the body language also, you can come to know what the paragraph could be all about. Do not interrupt. Do not get distracted with the external environmental factors that could act as a barrier to your communication. Possible, write few key pointers. If not, if the audio is real fast, then maybe just pay all your attention. Do not speak in between and make sure that you are able to comprehend or listen to the speaker more effectively. With this, we end the chapter of reading and listening comprehension. We move forward to chapter 19, where today we will be understanding the various speaking skills a person who wants to deliver maybe a public speech or maybe wants to address a larger crowd, either in the form of standing on a podium and making a certain debate or a speech, or maybe it could be from the point of view of the theatre artist. So when we talk of speaking skills, the very first aspect one should keep in mind is the volume of the person, the voice. The voice aspect. Now, voice, just like a face of a person, is different for each distinct individual. Just like how a face is different for a male and a female, similarly the voice is different, and through the person's voice, we are able to understand what could his rough age or her age be, what gender the person would be if you're listening to somebody over the radio jockeys, and what is the kind of mental frame the person is in. Is he a calm, relaxed, confident person? Is he nervous because his voice is kind of shaky, is being used a lot, or is very aggressive, anger, hatred is being reflected through the speech the person is talking to. So voice modulation is very much important when you start addressing a larger audience through any of the mediums in terms of the speaking skills. 3 things we should keep in mind when we are talking of speaking skills apart from voice. So the very first thing is the volume. Volume of a person, okay, can be high or low depending on what kind of crowd he or she is addressing and what kind of forum he or she is addressing. For theatre artists, considering that they are giving live performances and there could be audiences sitting right behind, your voice has to be loud enough, and then the second point, clear enough, so that the audiences sitting in the last row are able to listen to you clearly. At the same point in time, it should not be very strong and harsh that the ones who are sitting in the first few rows get those feeling when they listen to your voice. Okay, so volume should be considerate depending on what platform it is. If I'm sitting in a place which is closed enough and I have a lot of audiences, I should try to keep my voice moderate so that it doesn't hurt the decibels, the audible decibels of the normal human being. The second concept or the second point to remember when we are talking about speaking skills is with regards to the clarity. How clear you are when you are talking. Try to keep your lips open and talk properly. Open as in, do not talk in a very particular way. So the lips, as big and as openable as it would be, clear your words would be. And with clarity, we also mean your pronunciations should be correct. especially when you are addressing a crowd, you need to do a pre-practice for the same. And last is with regards to variety. Now, even when you are talking, how you are changing your words, how you are changing the tone, how you are putting emphasis on certain important points can bring about variety in your talking skills. So volume, the clarity and variety depend heavily on the voice of a person and how he or she can then differentiate himself or herself and be a better orator or a better public speaker. Along with it, what we also should keep in mind when we talk of variety is with regards to the right kind of pauses. Are we giving the right pause at the right time? If I am giving a provocative speech, okay, and I want the audiences to reflect or think about what I have said, probably I leave the sentence in a rhetorical question format and I give a good 3-4 minutes pause. Or if the audiences are clapping, applauding me for what I have said, I should understand this and maintain silence till the voice has died down, so that then again I'm able to grab their interest and they're able to listen to what I have to say clearly. Second is with terms of pace. Even if I'm giving a speech full of hatred, full of aggression, but if I'm going too fast, I may be clear, but if I'm going too fast, people will not be able to understand. Okay, as a human taking capacity, we are able to hear on an average 60 to 80 words per minute. In a way, if it goes too fast, then we would miss out. And if it's a live option, like a live audition or a live stage performance that you're giving, there are no subtitles that somebody can read and comprehend what you are saying. So after pause at the right places, then we focus on the pace aspect. How fast, how slow. Even if you speak too slow, people are going to get bored listening to you. So from the orator perspective, make sure that your pace is moderate enough. You know when to speak real fast, when to go a bit slow, give the right kind of pause. Third is with regards to the emphasis. Certain pointers need to be emphasized. If you are asking for a vote, for example, right? So why they should vote for you is where you put the right kind of pauses and give them कि भाई हम तुम्हारे लिए करेंगे, किसी और ने आपके लिए किया है, and you pause for a second. Then इसीलिए मैं कहता हूँ करिए हमारे लिए वोट. क्या करेंगे आप? हमारे लिए वोट. So that is you're putting emphasis on that you want their vote. And right, and I mean the last aspect is memorization. You should rehearse the speech well in advance so that when you are standing on a forum where you are addressing the public in a live format, you talk to them in a more seamless manner. You may remember important points, but they don't come across as rote, learned, revised points. They come as a natural flow of you conversing with the crowd. So make sure that you memorize your dialogue, your delivery of speech, and if at all you are using certain phrases, okay, you remember them correctly in the right logical sequence that is being said by that particular person. As in, if you're quoting somebody that in the words of Mahatma Gandhi on freedom of India, these were his words. So apart from the words, what exact date probably it was, and who was the person? Okay, you can't just say that Mahatma Gandhi said that, but probably it was Swami Vivekananda who had made that statement. Right? So memorization, two aspects. When you are quoting somebody, when you are using certain dialogue said by famous personality, make sure to give them due credit, and that way you memorize it. Secondly, do not rote learn your speech. Make it look natural, make it look a more interesting conversation where your audiences feel connected with you. So these are with regards to an orator, a speaker, that he needs to keep or she needs to keep in mind when you're addressing your audiences. With this, we finish the chapter.